are going to get rolling. And we have our guest today is the current goalie coach of the Calgary Flames, Jordan Sigalet. A little background on Jordan. He played Junior A in the BCHL, was drafted by the Boston Bruins in the 7th round. And then he went on to 4 years at Bowling Green, an all-star at Bowling Green, and a Hobie Baker Award finalist. If you guys don't know what that is, that's the top collegiate player in the NCAA. So that's pretty cool, and we appreciate him taking the time here today. Jordan, I'll let you just say hi and introduce yourself here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's good to see all your guys' faces, and happy to answer any questions you guys have today, whether it's about myself or Calgary Flames, any of the goalies I've coached in the past. Obviously, it's a tough time right now, not being able to be on the ice. I'm sure you guys are all itching to get back on the ice. So stay safe and positive, and hopefully we'll be back training and winning games soon.
Awesome. So first question: what have you been up to during this quarantine time, or how are you doing with this?
Yeah, it's been a lot different. So we have weekly calls 3 times a week with all our coaching staff, players, and management, just to keep up to date with, if the season's going to start again. And they are very positive that we're going to be playing again, whether it be in, June, July, or August. So we're excited for that and have to stay ready. The NHL draft is coming up. So myself and our other goalie coach that works with our prospects have been doing a lot of video on all the draft eligible goalies, whether they're in North America, Europe, some Russians. So it's always exciting to see the young prospects coming up. And then on top of that, I have 4 kids of my own, like you guys, that try and keep them busy.
That sounds like that's a lot going on. So that's good. So in your opinion, you're hopeful for a return in the upcoming months here?
Yeah, it's I don't know what's going to happen, but they're putting together a bunch of different plans on trying to get teams in certain areas, so there's not a lot of travel involved. And whether it's finishing the season, they're just getting right into playoffs. There's a lot of hope out there that something's going to be done, probably not in front of fans, which will be a lot different, especially for the players, with no atmosphere in the building. But it'd be definitely good for you guys to watch on TV.
Yeah, we have a quick fire question, just asking how old you are, and you're 39, correct?
39, yeah, I'm getting up there now.
Yeah, you're not going to catch up to me, unfortunately, but that's all right. so
started playing hockey when I was about 8 as a player, and then started goalie at age 11, and just played my minor hockey outside of Vancouver. Back then there was no major midgets, so I went from bantam, then I played 2 years of junior B, and after junior B, 2 years of junior A, and then on to college and then pro hockey.
Awesome. I was just going to circle back and go back to where it all started. So what's the story of how you became a goaltender? Is there any, siblings threw you in the net or any stories like that? Or
my older brother was a forward, so he's the one that got me excited about hockey. And when we were rotating at a young age, I loved the equipment. I loved the pressure of the game. I loved that you're able to be a deciding factor on the outcome of the game. I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same. A lot of street hockey where the older brother would throw me in net and, make me the target. But something about it I just loved, and I stuck with it. And then I have a younger brother too, who actually plays professional hockey in Sweden. He's a defenseman, but he wanted to be a goalie too. My parents said no way, one was enough. So three boys in the family that played hockey, and it was actually special. I got to play college hockey with my brother, and then he was also drafted by the Boston Bruins, which was pretty cool.
That's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. Tell us a little bit about your time at Bowling Green. What was that like, going to school, and what were the crowds like, and just that whole experience?
It's a lot different, the U.S. college, than playing juniors over here. A lot of younger crowds. They have their chants. They're making fun of you during the whole game, so your focus has got to be really dialed in. And my first year I went there, I was used to being a starting goalie. I went there, I hardly played at all my first year, and that was a huge shock and adjustment for me. So just trying to stay positive and working hard in practice, and I slowly earned that starting job. My last 2 years I played almost every single game. I got to play with Kevin Bieksa at Bowling Green for a couple of years, which was pretty cool as he went on to have a great NHL career. And, it's why it's important for all you guys to keep your marks up in school and, have a good education, because it gives you that option to get that scholarship and have your school paid for and be able to play hockey at the same time.
That's awesome. Now a little bit, like, obviously you're drafted by the Bruins and spent some time in their organization. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was playing my second year in Victoria. They were called the Celsa back in the day. They're the Grizzlies now. I'd already accepted my full ride scholarship to Bowling Green, and then we had a team that barely made playoffs that year, and we just went on a big run and ended up winning the BCHL title. And I think it just opened some eyes. There's some NHL scouts at the game. So I didn't go to the draft. I was ranked late out of all the goalies, so I just watched it online and just followed the picks that morning of the draft. And my phone actually rang before the pick actually came up on the computer, and it was someone from the Boston Bruins organization to tell me that I'd been selected. So obviously a dream of every kid, and that was just a start there. The work had to just begin. Lots of work to do. I went to play full 4 years at college and signed my first NHL contract after I graduated. And I spent 3 years in the minor league system in the American Hockey League with the Providence Bruins. And I got called up 3 times, 3 different occasions. I got called up to Boston to back up, I think it was 10 or 11 games in the NHL. And I played a whopping 46 seconds of one game after Andrew Raycroft got hurt at the end of a game, and I went in. I didn't even get a shot, but still pretty cool to be out there.
Yeah, there's definitely not many people that can say that. So that's pretty cool. I think Lanny's got a few questions here on the chat line. We're gonna jump into that.
We got a few questions here, Jordan. We'll start off with who is your favorite goalie to coach?
Favorite goalie to coach? I don't want to make anyone mad here. I've actually been blessed to have great character guys and all hardworking guys. I think the most exciting guy to work with has been David Riddick, just because of his personality and his story. Like, if you look at both Cam Talbot and David Riddick, neither of those two guys were drafted. Cam went through, Alabama Huntsville at school and signed as a free agent with the Rangers. David, we just found through video. One of our scouts was actually over watching a defenseman, and the goalie caught his eye, and so he sent me a bunch of video, and he was a guy that we really liked, so we brought him over, signed him, and he's still young in his NHL career and still has a lot to learn, but he's just eager to get better every day, never question his work ethic, and as you can tell by watching him, he's very competitive and very outgoing and emotional, sometimes too emotional, but very fun to work with.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we got a
other aspect of that, I'd say Mike Smith was fun to work with, just because his ability with the puck. Obviously, you've seen how well he's like a third defenseman out there, so keeps me on my toes and almost gives me a heart attack every game, but exciting to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we got a question here. If you have ever worked with Tuukka Rask, but
I didn't work with him, but I actually played with him for a year. So my 1 year when I was in Providence in the minors, he was brought over from Finland, and I played with him that whole season. And you could tell right away when he got there, he was going to be an elite goalie, and he's had a great career, and I think he's kind of an underrated guy if you look at him in the NHL, someone that gets looked over.
Yeah, no, totally. We got a question here from Jake about what kind of prep do you wish younger goalies were doing a little bit more before getting to the minors? So is there any skills that are commonly lacking in younger goalies coming up?
I think still you're starting to see it get better with the skating and the edges and the edge control. Sometimes goalies I find nowadays are getting a little bit too robotic, and they get away just from being an athlete and competing. When we're scouting goalies, now skating's the number one thing we're looking at, and then competitiveness and character. And you can't teach competitiveness, obviously. You kind of either have it or you don't. And the character one's a tough one. You got to do a lot of background research on that kind of stuff. But the skating, I know young goalies hate it when they're doing it. They just want to stop pucks. But you look at the best goalies in the league now, like a Vasilevsky, even that's what makes David Riddick so successful. you got to be a good skater. When people tell you goalie's got to be the best skaters, it's not the fastest. It's just strong and good on your edges, because the pace of the game is so fast nowadays that we have to keep up as goaltenders.
No, absolutely. Could you touch on that maybe a little bit? What are some of the skating drills, for example, you'd work with maybe Cam and David?
Yeah, they'll do a lot of box drills, just where they have to change direction. A lot of drills where, you're doing counter transitions, where you have to catch your edges wide and change direction. Anything to help that quick twitch motion, and just, simulate game situations. Pucks are going to hit a shin pad and go in other directions, and the game is fast and it changes fast. So it's just eliminating any delay in those movements and being as quick and as efficient as you can.
Would you say you're a fan more of the line work or more like crease pattern stuff?
We do a little bit of both. The goalies at this level usually like to be in their crease just because it's natural to a game situation, but try and get them out of their comfort zone at times, just to push them and make them get better.
Yeah, awesome. We got a question here about Dustin Wolf. How is he on and off the ice with him being the newest Flames draft pick?
Yeah, we just signed Wolfie. It's an exciting pick for us because we didn't think he'd be sitting there in the 7th round, and if he wasn't 5'11", 6 foot, he's probably a second, third round pick. His character is like high level. Even after being one of the best goalies in the whole Canadian Hockey League the last 2 years, he still wants to get better. He sent me a video yesterday. He went and borrowed a slide board from his gym, and he's been doing a slide board with a tennis ball machine, and every day he's just pushing, trying to get better. And he's a goalie that, even though his size, you compare him to a UC Saros, a smaller guy whose hockey sense is so high, he reads the play and the shot so well. It's not often you see goalies stand up and make saves nowadays just from reading the shot well, and he's one of those goalies. So we're excited for him. He has to go back to Everett for one more year, and then hopefully he turns pro when we get him in the American Hockey League after that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Swanee, turn it back over to you there. I'll keep watching some of these questions as they come.
Sounds good. So now that we're on the Wolf topic, you're listed at 5'11" when you played. Is that accurate?
Yeah, if you stretch me out a little bit, maybe 6 foot, but back then you weren't considered small. So
yeah, exactly right. I mean, I was around 5'10" and when I played, but now you're starting to see, like, do you think it's gone too far with teams just looking at size, and are we going to see a shift back, you think?
I think you're seeing it shift a little bit. You see a guy like Antti-Raanta, even Lundqvist. He looks big in the net, but he's barely over 6 feet as well. Halak, Hudobin, obviously Saros. There's a lot more smaller guys now, and I think the other thing you're seeing though too now is the bigger guys are starting to move better than they did 10, 15 years ago. They used to just get big blocking goalies that weren't great skaters, and now you're seeing big goalies that are very athletic too. And Smitty was one of those that I know he's getting older now and coming down the end of his career, but he can still move good for a big guy. And you look at Vasilevsky, how quick and powerful he is. So I think you are going to see some more small guys, but you're also going to see the bigger goalies that are athletic too.
Yeah, that's a great point there. So let's go to a typical game day. So what would the routine look like for you as the goalie coach?
Yeah, game days are long. So I leave the house around 5:45, 6 a.m. and get down to the Saddle Dome about 6:45. All the coaches are there bright and early. We try and get all the prep done before the players get there. So if I haven't already done it the day before, I'll finish up any pre-scout stuff I have. Let's say we're playing Edmonton. I'll break down both goalies, whether it's Koskinen or Smith that's going to play. I'll have them both ready. I'll have a video of all their strengths and weaknesses, as well as a sheet I'll post up with the strengths and weaknesses and the percentage of where the goals have gone in on them and how those goals were created. That video plays while the players are getting dressed for warm-ups, so they get to watch it. And some guys watch it more than others, but it's there, especially shootout stuff for their advantage. Once I have that done, I'll have some shooting tendency stuff. I'll go through the Edmonton's power play, and set up any power play tendencies they have and put it on an iPad and put it in Ritter or Talbot's stall so they can watch it and just see the tendencies. Then we'll go on for morning skate. I'll take the goalies on about 20 minutes early. The guy that's starting, I usually just warm him up. The other goalie, I'll put through some drills just so you get some good goalie work. Then we morning skate for about 25 minutes to a half hour. We get off the ice. I try and go home from about 1 to 3 o'clock just to get a little bit of rest and a mental break. Then I'm back at the rink at around 3:30 for a 7 o'clock game. And again, you're just, getting prepped, for that team and for that game. So then you get home about midnight or almost 1 in the morning after the game. So it's pretty much a 6 a.m. to 1 in the morning day. They're long days. And you get home at 1, you get a few hours sleep, and then you're back at it the next day again and do it all over. So it's a grind, but it's fun. I love it. Just like playing, there's pressure to the coaching side of it because winning is obviously everything at this level. So you kind of take it personally if your goalie has a bad game and struggles, and but you can't show that. You got to stay positive and pick those guys up, put them back on their feet.
That's great. So going into that, so now as a coach, you still get some of the same feelings and emotions when you're playing. So do you still get as nervous before a game or during games?
You do, for sure, especially when it's playoffs. And I think it's almost worse because when you're on the ice, you can do something about it and you can control some of it. When you're up in the press box, it's out of your hands. So you almost feel like a teacher preparing a student for a test. You want them as prepared as possible. And, once they're in that test, they're on their own. So it's, and both of all the guys I've ever had are great about wanting to watch video after games, before games. So I think the more you prepare, the more confident you're going to be as a goalie going into the games. And confidence, I think, leads to consistency. So no different than studying for a test at school. The more you study and prepare, the more confident you're going in, the more consistent you're going to be, and the better end result you're going to have.
That's awesome. Lanny, I think is there a few more you want to touch on there from the
we can pick a few here out of the bunch. We got a funny question here, Jordan. If you were to pick a team to coach, what team would you pick in the NHL? Put you on the hot spot.
In the Stanley Cup. Well, that's a tough one. They're all there's a lot of fun goalies out there that you don't want to coach right now. Like, I think it'd be fun to coach a Bobrovsky or Vasilevsky. New York has 2 great young goaltenders now that are exciting to watch too. So, watching those Rangers goalies, those would be guys fun to work with too. But really, you get so used to the organization you're in, and I've been with them for 9 years now, if you count my time in Abbotsford in the AHL. So you want to win a championship with the team you've put a lot of time into and spent a lot of time with the prospects and the goalies you're with. So, definitely want to win a Stanley Cup in Calgary here one day.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a question if you've ever worked with Martin Jones, potentially being a BC guy.
No, I did not work with Martin Jones, but I know some people that have, and he was the guy we had our eye on when he was available there too, but unfortunately missed out on him. I think anytime you're trying to get a goalie from the same division, it's always going to be tough in the trade. So I think that year he got flipped to Boston and over to San Jose. So.
Yeah. We got a question about how long you've been coaching goalies for.
I've been coaching, so after I retired, I did 1 year where I was just running camps and doing private lessons. And then I did 1 year with the Everett Silvertips in the WHL. And then I did 3 years with Abbotsford in the American Hockey League. And then this is my 6th year with the Calgary Flames, so right around 10 years now. Makes me feel old because it doesn't feel that long.
Yeah, that's a linear path.
Yeah.
We got one here that asks, what's your favorite drill? It's on and off the ice, but I guess we can just focus on what would be your favorite drill on the ice to run goalies through.
On the ice, I always love to do some battle drills just to their comfort zone a little bit. Sometimes I'll just take like a screening device or another goalie, and I'll get down on one knee and I'll bounce the puck through the goalie's legs that's acting as a screen, and that goalie's just got to find it, react, and the player is going to battle out in front. So it's good to get guys out of their comfort zone so they're not robotic all the time, and I think it recreate some game situation kind of stuff. And it's not just doing it to battle and be sloppy, but battle and be in control. And the guys usually like drills like that, and it's fun for the players as well.
I guess building on that, then, is there a certain bunch of Flames players that like to come and shoot for you when you're doing drills? Is there?
Yeah, you know what? They're all great. We with the grind of the season, we'll normally have guys every day come out, and they're usually the ones that have been scratched, not playing, just to get them some extra work. But all the young guys are always eager. I think Mangiapane might be the go-to guy that's always wants to be out there. But even Matthew Tkachuk, a guy that you wouldn't think that he's always asking and wants to be out there, and he's a guy that's always asking me to give him passes for one-timers. So it's always cool when you see those guys that are top players in the game that are still looking at ways to get better. And even when we had Yager here, he was one of the guys that always wanted to come out early. Like you hear the stories about him, how he's going to the rink late at night when it's locked, and
Yeah.
morning, like he's itching to do anything to get better, even at the age he was at, which was pretty cool for me to see.
No, totally. That is. He's kind of the legend. So
Yeah.
we got a question: if you like being or the team playing at home or away better?
Well, if you look at this year, we were way better on the road, and the goalies are better on the road. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if sometimes the pressure of home gets to them. I feel like sometimes we play a different game at home where you're trying to impress the fans and be a little bit fancy, or on the road, we're a little bit more direct and simple. But nothing beats the app.
Oh,
Got some chaos.
yeah.
Yeah, but nothing beats the Saddle Dome atmosphere, especially playoff atmosphere. And I think the second best one's probably Vegas and then Nashville, but some pretty awesome buildings to play in.
Yeah, and I guess your first ever game was pretty cool, being at the Garden too.
Yeah, and especially when you're thrown in that kind of situation. The funny part, in warm-ups in that game, I was skating around, and Sean Burke was the backup goalie at the other end, and he was at the end of his career, and he was skating around in warm-up with no helmet on, like totally old school. And then I started stretching at center, and he's stretching next to me, and started to talk to me and said, "How's it going, kid?" And made me feel comfortable right away. And he ended up getting thrown in that game because the other guy got pulled, and then I went in with it for the last minute. So it was pretty funny. And I know Sean Burke well, and we shared that story a few times. So it was pretty cool.
That is funny. We got a question of CCM or Bauer or Vaughn. Do you have a preference with gear from a coaching standpoint?
Taubes was a Bauer guy. Ritter's a CCM guy. I think it depends on the style of the goalie, really, and what they're comfortable with. Growing up, I was a Vaughn guy first, and then Bauer, and I never did get into CCM. They kind of got big after I finished playing hockey. But from what I see, most guys love the CCM. But a lot of guys are starting to try out the Bauer too, just how light they are and how hot the rebounds come off, make it hard for the players in front to pick them up. So it's the preference for everybody. And I didn't wear CCM enough to really say much about it. And gears changed so much from when I played. And when I started out, I had the DNR horsehair brown leather pads. So stuff has changed big time and for the better.
No, absolutely. We got one last question here, I think, and I'll turn it back to you, Swanee, just to get it in time. We got it's blowing up here. What is your favorite off-ice drill? Do you ever work with some off-ice drills, or you kind of leave that to the guys to do their own thing?
We usually, at this level, we usually leave it to the strength guys, but during our development camp, we have a vision team come in, and they use the strobe glasses with the goalies, and they use the tennis balls, and just facing the wall, bouncing the balls off the wall while you have the vision, the strobe goggles on, or kneeling on a Basu ball while you have them. Just anything to challenge their vision and make their vision stronger. We usually don't run it, but we're always up there watching the goalies do it, and they always have a lot of fun doing it too with their glove and blocker on. And the slide board for Wolfie, he loves it. He's got an octagon shaped one, so he can do his pivots and shift and 360s, and then tracking and catching at the same time, which when you can't have access to ice or synthetic ice, it's the next closest thing.
Yeah, have you been able to work with the guys virtually, like Cam or David, and prep for if you guys pick up again? And they have synthetic.
It's hard because like David's back in Czech now, and Cam last week went back to Ontario. We talk on a daily basis. Ritter has a slide board there at home. I think Cam's going to have access to a gym there soon, and he's got a goalie coach from back home and a trainer from back home that he's going to start to work with when it's approved. So those are pros, that you don't really have to worry about them. They have after video, sent Ritter a highlight video a couple weeks ago, just to keep them mentally sharp and engaged because this thing could start at any time. So.
Yeah, because we see some goalies over in Sweden where they didn't have the restrictions we have over here. They're already back on the ice skating and stuff. So I heard
the team with the most Swedes is definitely going to have the upper hand, and luckily we have a lot of those too. And it's a lot different over there. We just interviewed a bunch of Swedish goalies for the draft, and things are pretty normal there. Whether they're training in small groups or doing dryland training, it's a lot more different than it is here right now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right, Swana, turn it back to you there.
Yeah, we're up against the clock here, so we got about 5 minutes left. I know there was one question earlier through email that was just sort of, your sort of your best piece of advice for a young goalie.
Well, I think it's just don't look at the goalies around you. Everyone's path is different. It's easy to get frustrated if you're not drafted in the WHL draft or to the NHL. And what I always tell kids is, you get drafted by a team, you're locked into that team. Why not, make yourself available to all 31 teams in the NHL or every team in the WHL? If you're a free agent, you got a lot more options. I was never drafted in the WHL. David Riddick was never drafted in the NHL. Cam Talbot. You look around the league, there's a lot. So it's, using that stuff. If you're not picked, use that as fuel to light your fire and motivate you. Obviously Dustin Wolf was drafted, but I read a quote from him the other day that he's going to prove people wrong. People are going to be disappointed they didn't pick him. So it's what you do with those kind of situations and that adversity you faced. It's turning the negative into a positive, and just look at all the different paths guys take. Not everyone's a first rounder, not everyone's a selection in the draft, and it's just putting your nose to the floor and working hard and worrying about yourself. Not worrying about, what other goalies are doing around you. All you can control is, what you're doing.
That's awesome. Let's do a couple quick hits here, and then we'll let you get on your way. So, favorite NHL rink?
Favorite NHL rink besides the Saddle Dome has got to be Vegas. There's nothing like it. If you haven't been there, you got to get there to see a game. Montreal is close too because of the history, and then Nashville's right there too. They're all pretty awesome places.
Okay, outside of your two goalies, who are your top 3 goalies in the NHL?
Top 3 in the NHL, I got to go Vasilevsky. I'm going to throw Tuukka Rask in there just because of how consistent he's done it over his career. And then I know Bobrovsky had a bit of a down year, but he'd probably be number 3 for me.
Nice. Who's the funniest guy on the Flames?
Funny, David Riddick's right up there. He's one of the biggest goofballs I've ever met. And then probably Zach Ronaldo's right there with them. Chucky's up there. It's a good group of guys. They all love making fun of each other. So there's never a moment in that dressing room.
All right, last one. We'll go. What's your favorite NHL city on the road?
You know what? They're probably all the ones with my favorite rinks. Vegas, obviously. It's always nice weather and there's tons to do. We always go to a show when we're there. Nashville is all live country music around the whole arena, so it's always great to go out there. It's always nice and warm. Then I'd probably say Tampa Bay, just because it's always nice. We're always there when it's 3 feet of snow in Calgary, and it's almost 30 degrees there, so you get away from the Calgary winter for a bit. Awesome
stuff. Well, thanks for taking the time with us today, Jordan. Really appreciate it. Giving a little insight to our goalies during this time. So I wanted to thank you. Thank you for coming on. I know our goalies will certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and good luck to all of you. Make sure you guys stay safe and hopefully you guys are back on the ice soon. And if you guys are working with these guys, make sure you're working hard for them.
Awesome stuff. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, goalies, for joining us here today. And we'll be in touch for the Week 5 worksheet coming up on Sunday. So stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you all soon.
All right, thanks, guys. See ya.